can't just be me that thinks that Mo Salah looks different this season. I know I don't just mean the drastic change in his haircut. I'm talking about how he is playing. For years, we've been used to Salah consistently being a top 3 to top 5 performer in the Premier League. Season upon season, he's one of, if not the most dangerous attacker. It got to a point where Salah has been taken for granted by most of us, and it's easy to understand why when you consider the bar he set in his first season. But at 32 years old, with him in his final season of his contract under a new coach after years of playing under Klopp, Salah looks like a new, more refined version of himself. I'm sure the summer holiday helped, but he also seems to be playing for an extension at Liverpool when you marry how he's played with what he said publicly. And yet, any club in the world could sign him up on a pre-contract in less than 2 months' time. No wonder the fans are making their feelings known. So let's consider Salah's journey to and within Liverpool and how he has evolved as a player and how his haircut has how he has improved this season. If you were like me and you found yourself thinking, man, is it just me or does Salah look like the best version of himself this season? Well, you're not alone.
I'm very excited and I can say I will give 100% and I give everything for the club because I'm here. Everyone knows the club is very big.
You know his pre-Liverpool story. A phenomenon at Al Mokaloun in Egypt, moves to Europe via FC Basel, where he takes some time to adjust before gathering some momentum and becoming a January signing for Chelsea. After Chelsea, he was viewed as a flop and was sent back to Italy, where he played for Fiorentina for a season and a half. He then went on loan to AS Roma, where his move was made permanent in his second season, and that was enough for Liverpool to sign the man in 2017. When they signed him, nobody expected him to do as he had done in his first season. Sometimes we forget just how unbelievable that was, that a right winger pulled off what he did after going from a Serie A attacker who scored 19 goals in his previous season, which was his career best, by the way, at that time, to a winger that scores 44 goals in 52 appearances at his new club, breaking multiple goal records that were set by iconic Premier League strikers before him. Now, as alluded to in the intro, this season was both a blessing and a curse for Salah, as everything he did following that was held to that first season scoring standard. In truth, his next season was always going to be seen as a failure, and I use that in major air quotes here, a failure, compared to what he managed to in his first season. Again, 44 goals and 52 appearances in that first season, but also 15 assists, 59 goal contributions. Crazy. Naturally, given how ridiculous we all are as football supporters, you had some especially ridiculous people calling him a one-season wonder from then onward, as if going from extraordinary to just really good doesn't mean that you're just really good. No, failure to meet that original high bar means that you're actually crap and a fraud, right? Not just a talented player that isn't playing in their unreal form at the moment. Well, he's shown that he's been a one-season wonder since 2017. With massive contributions with every single season. Because as you can see, it's not as if he slumped completely. There wasn't a season where he didn't get 20 plus goals, and only one season, the 2020-21 season, where he didn't reach double digits in assists as well. For example, the 2022-23 season, a season where Liverpool struggled and slumped to 5th in the final standings, didn't have a single trophy to speak of. Salah still scored 30 goals and had 16 assists from just 51 appearances. Yet people completely forget about that. So what am I getting at here? I'm getting at the point that while his first season is a bit of an outlier, his consistency since joining Liverpool has been unbelievable. Plus, you mix in the fact that goals and assists have become an expectation for him, and that's also working against him. It's so automatic that it's boring in some ways, which in a strange way is a compliment. Boring in that you expect him to do this now. He had a rough end to the Klopp era, where you could actually see the visible frustration in one substitute incident. Salah had returned from an injury that season and was struggling for form and looked pretty jaded by his Liverpool experience at the time. And knowing that he had just one last season ahead in his contract, it was a bit of a nervy summer for those that wanted Salah to stay, while those who felt like his time had run its course with Liverpool and maybe it's time to move him along will have felt justified with how his form tapered off at the end of the 23-24 campaign and how, well, he isn't getting younger. And to that,
Salah all the way and slams the ball home.
Yes, he is getting on in age a bit, but Salah is truly an elite athlete. When you consider his injury record, he's made an average of 49.9 appearances per season. He is an anomaly. The worst stretch that he had injury-wise at Liverpool was his hamstring injury from last season, in which he missed a total of about 12 matches for club and country. As mentioned, he really struggled to find some form after that injury, and his 2023-24 season ended in a way that he wouldn't have wished for. But while other players took part in Copa America or Euro 2024 this summer, Salah was on vacation in Greece. And maybe Turkey. That's the end of the hair talk, I promise. But he has looked a completely different player from the one that we saw in the winter and spring of 2024. And if there were doubts of his physical ability at the end of last season, they have been roundly put to bed. Perhaps one of the best examples being his goal against Aston Villa, where Salah sped from his own half all the way down the pitch, nobody with a prayer of catching him, and this isn't even an isolated event this season. He has looked sharper in his movement, closer to the Salah of old. Would he beat his 26-year-old self in a foot race? Probably not, but he's still one of the fastest wingers in the Premier League currently at 32 years of age. And Virgil van Dijk highlighted this after the Villa match, saying, quote, "Special player, not only this year, but so many years now. You see the hard work that he puts in and how consistent he is, especially with his numbers, but also with his performances. He is a special player and a pleasure to play with. Physically, definitely he can stay at this level for longer. Mentally, that's in his hands. With certain players, you can see how they play on the highest level." We're moving on to stats in a sec here, but another note about his physical ability and speed still, and why it shouldn't be a worry. For Liverpool's opener, Salah was completely outpacing Leon Bailey, with Bailey forced to haul him down as his only prayer of potentially catching Salah and stopping a goal. Leon Bailey is not a slow winger by any stretch of the imagination, and 32-year-old Salah, who is 5 years older than the Jamaican, was completely outpacing him, running away from him. He can still hang, speed-wise.
At Old Trafford again.
There's something about Salah this season where he looks as though he is a more complete player than the one we saw scoring a ridiculous amount of goals in the 2017-18 season. With every single touch of the ball, he looks as if he can see how the entire sequence will play out before him. He's still a threat with his speed, but he's less about progressing the ball himself. He's very much a final third player in every respect, both in finishing and setting up his teammates. His match against Aston Villa provided a nice encapsulation of his time so far this season under Arne Slot. Setting up the opener, okay, maybe not his most beautiful assist, and scoring the second himself. Look, with that assist though, that goal only happened because of his pace, so he absolutely deserved it. And he could have had more assists in that match if his teammates had their finishing boots on. But anyway, he became the first player in Europe's top 5 leagues to reach double digits in both goals and assists. Others may have more goal contributions than him, but no other player has managed to reach that feat. Not Rafinha, Yamal, Marmoush, Vinicius, or Kane. Salah's own record for getting both his goals and assists to double digits was doing so by February of 2021-22 season. He absolutely smashed that by a good 3 months. In fact, he broke the Liverpool Premier League era record for the shortest amount of time to get both columns to double digits. Luis Suarez did it in 23 games back in the 2013-14 season. Salah smashed that by 6 matches, doing it in just 17 appearances this season. 17 appearances, 10 goals, 10 assists. And there's a definitive reason as to why in this season Salah looks like a more complete and dangerous player. Well, 2 reasons, I guess. 1, he is healthy and more mature as a player this season with far more experience. And 2, he actually is having a faster start. So we know his count after 17 appearances this season. What was he at after 17 appearances in the 2017-18 season? 12 goals and 3 assists. That's including the Champions League qualifiers against Hoffenheim, his first 4 Champions League matches, and his first 11 matches in the Premier League. So the outcome is, as you probably would have guessed, more goals, yeah, but also far less assists. 15 goal contributions in total versus the 20 that he has so far this season. He's still a goal threat. Only 2 of his goals were penalties this season, but he's clearly better at playing in his teammates as well. His previous record for assists in a single season was 16 in the 22-23 season, a number that he is on track to shatter at this rate. Not even at the halfway point of the season, and with Liverpool looking more and more composed and cohesive and dangerous under Slot with each passing match. You know he'll contribute more. But of course, the massive elephant in the room is his contract. Set to expire in June of 2025, as mentioned in the intro, we are just 1.5 months away from other teams being able to sign Salah to a pre-contract agreement for next season. That's crazy that Liverpool are this close to losing someone who is an icon of the club at this point. Not even an icon just of the club, but of the Premier League as well. Look at where he stands in the all-time goals records. When you consider the interest from Saudi Arabia previously, it gets a bit scary. Al Ittihad had a failed £150 million bid for Salah last summer, as well as interest from Al Hilal. When you look at Al Hilal's situation, it looks as though Neymar will not be signed on again, given his constant injuries of late. A spot could open for Salah. But judging from what Salah said in the media, he doesn't seem to be leaning toward a departure. If anything, he has put the onus on the club to make the decision. After torching United with a goal and 2 assists at Old Trafford this season, Salah said the following, quote, "I had a good summer, a long time to stay with myself and think positively a bit. As you know, this is my last year with the club and I want to enjoy it. I don't want to think about it. I feel I am free to play football. We will see what happens next year. Nobody in the club has talked to me about contracts. It is not up to me, it is up to the club." And so the question becomes whether the holdups are simply because the club wanted to take this season in order to ensure that Salah could stay healthy and provide value if they were to invest. His current deal is about $350K a week, which he could get much better than that in Saudi Arabia, that's for sure, but he seems to still enjoy playing at the top, as he recently broke his silence on the contract matters after Liverpool's win over Brighton. Maybe this really is his final year and he is looking to soak it all in, or maybe he's gently applying pressure on the club again as he did in September after the United victory. As Salah wrote on Instagram, "Top of the table is where this club belongs, nothing less. All teams win matches, but there is only one champion in the end. That's what we want. Thank you for your support last night. No matter what happens, I will never forget what scoring at Anfield feels like." You can honestly view that either way, but what we do know for sure in this moment of time, the only thing that we can confidently say at the moment is that Mohamed Salah is threatening to have one of his best ever seasons with Liverpool. And if it is to be his last, then it certainly has the potential to be a memorable one with how he and his team in general are playing. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, then I always appreciate a like. It helps out the channel greatly, actually. And beyond that, enjoy the rest of your week. Ciao.